Hey everybody, welcome to Nomads podcast, episode 16, I believe. And today we got the legend himself, Mr. Danny Pax with us. Danny, how you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks so much for having me back on. Exciting.
We were just talking. I was like, Danny, where's your hat? Like, you should be wearing the Danny Pax hat right now. I've got mine right over there. Do you want to show the audience your new leather version or pleather? We're not sure.
We're not sure what this
Yo,
material is, but the contrast, I'm a big fan.
sometimes the magic's in the mystery. You know, we don't need to know what it is, but dude, it looks sharp. It looks fly. I like the kind of like green with the brown. It's got like that classy kind of a camo look to it.
Yeah, I've been, just getting feedback from friends and family who have been the main users of the original hats, and so they're like, "Can you make one with like one of those patches?" And I'm like, "I don't know, maybe. Let's see."
Only one way to find out. So yeah, for anybody watching, it's we got two swamp boys, two swamp boy bag lovers, two Florida boys on the mic. You actually didn't comment, Danny, on my chair. I thought you were gonna give me like have questions about this or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I saw your story yesterday, and just kind
Oh,
of I
okay.
love the inspirational message on like just do it, just publish your video. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm 100% behind that. So
Yeah, for context for anybody who's listening, I'm sitting, or you might be listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube. I'm sitting in a Tommy Bahama chair right now because I'm traveling in Florida, where my family is, and I don't have any professional equipment right now. I'm just bumming it. I got like my laptops on like a bunch of notebooks to get the height that I need, and I got this Tommy Bahama chair, which is super comfortable and looks dope as. But yeah, my goal with the Instagram post yesterday was just like, hey, anybody who's thinking about starting a YouTube channel or a podcast, like you don't need to have the best conditions, the best equipment, the best anything. You just got to do it. You got to just make it happen. Like, look at me, we've been doing this a long time, Danny, and sometimes you just gotta. You can't wait for the perfect moment, right?
absolutely, no, not you got. First of all, I love the chair. I wore a matching. It's not a Tommy Bahama shirt, but it's that vibe. So
We're going full Florida right now.
Florida.
I love this.
Yep. I should have my jorts on, just to really nail the. But I totally agree on the you gotta just do it. I mean, I'm excited that I'm back in my studio here because the last podcast we had to do from when I was visiting my parents' house, and so that was we made it work. We made it work. So
Absolutely, yeah. And I was in a different place in Florida then, so all of our pods are in Florida, but in different locations: the north and the south and the west. So yeah, we're just two Florida boys making some content.
yeah, one of these days I'll get a matching chair and then we'll go to one of the beaches.
Dude,
Somewhere in Florida.
live podcast from the beach with our Tommy Bahama chairs and our cool like palm tree button downs. I'm about that life. So you're in Florida now, but I remember I saw the Rushfaster video where we all contributed a couple minutes to, and you were traveling at that point. Where were you?
For that one, I was in Seoul. We did a 2-week trip. We went to Tokyo for a week. Well, Japan. We went to Tokyo, Kyoto, and then we went over to South Korea and visited Seoul and Busan. So really amazing trip.
All right, so 4 cities. Which one was your favorite out of the 4?
All of them were really incredible. They lived up to the hype. So if you're considering any of those cities, I would say definitely go for it. Seoul really hit us hard as far as like the vibe there was incredible. Like there's just so much to do. It felt super safe, modern, and as traveling dancers, the dancing was incredible. We danced so much while we were over there. Salsa and
That's so cool,
bachata.
dude.
Oh my God.
Well, I
We
mean,
were like, how do we move here?
yeah, dude, it's so funny you say that because I feel like Seoul doesn't get enough credit. I went there in October of last year for my first time. Wasn't expecting a lot. Fell in love with it. Like more so than most cities I've ever been to. The cleanliness, the vibe, the cool cafes on every freaking corner.
Yeah.
Like and it's just like a hip place where you got the Western influence, but it's also so Korea at the same
Yeah.
time. And like I loved Seoul. I was just blown away by it. So that's awesome that you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, we're already talking about, trying to go back later this year. So highly, highly recommend. And Busan was really incredible too.
I've heard good things about Busan. I didn't get to make it there yet, but I'm hoping to soon. For my backpack brand, Firo, all the factories that we work with are run by Koreans, so I got a lot of Koreans in my life, and they're always trying to get me to go out there and tell me to eat here and eat there. So next time you go, let me know. I'll ask my Korean squad like the best dining spots. I got you, okay?
Excellent. I appreciate it. Love the food there for sure.
So what bags did you bring on the trip?
So I did take a roller bag, carry on only, but I did take a roller bag for that one. I had one of the level 8 kind of hard shell rollers, and then the Able
Classic.
Carry Max EDC, which was just
Oh yeah.
perfect for the trip. It was a personal item. We flew on Jeju Air, and I forgot what the other airline we had was, but just slid right under the seat, and man, just so comfortable to wear all day. So
That's a
big
nice
props to the
combo.
Max
Okay.
EDC.
All right. Well, so that was your personal item. I don't want to jump the gun, but in case, based on the title, if you're watching this, today Danny and I are going to pick some of our favorite bags from some distinct categories. Now, Danny, the reason I wanted to do this is every year on Nomads Nation, we update our power rankings video, where I basically get the categories, and I pick 11 distinct categories and 11 distinct bags, plus a runner-up for each of those categories. Just because I get asked all the time, like, "Hey, Aaron, what's your top recommendation for this bag or that bag?" So I just always say, watch this. These are my recommendations for the year. So I was like, we do it every year, but like I was like, I wonder what Danny's top picks for each category are. So we're gonna end up jumping into that. And Danny was a little hesitant, and I'm sure it's just gonna be Danny, over or under. Are all the categories Go Ruck and Evergoods, or just 10 out of the 11? Do we have
That
any
was
dark horse?
that was the toughest part. I was like, I don't want this to be just like the same options. It's been fun to actually on the channel come up. I've been trying to come up with top 10 videos of like different categories just to kind of, bring some other things onto people's radars. Although Go Ruck and Evergoods will be featured in this list.
Yes, they will be. So wait, what kind of top just like different types of roundups? What are you saying you guys are doing on the channel?
Yeah, so the last one that I just published now was the top 10 bags that stand on their own because we know
I've been getting requests of that so much. That's awesome you did that. Okay, cool. I just got literally asked that today, so I'll send them over to your channel.
That's just I'm just missing the Fyro bag. That's the only one I haven't, but I know that one. I know that was some of the feedback you got as you were building it, and so it's a really important feature more and more. That's what I talk about in the video, and so there's some options that I've personally enjoyed using, and just different categories like that. There was some that was just more underrated bags, and then there's just new releases. It's too hard to come up with just the top 10. I also did one towards the end of last year, which was what I called Hall of Fame backpacks that have like not changed that much, which I think
saw
is a
that
really
one. That was
cool
good.
sort of- yeah.
Very
So
cool. Yeah, sort of like these iconic heritage bags that just they're always in the conversation, and they don't really go through variations anymore because they're just classics.
yeah, exactly. You got your Jordan 1s, right? Your Jordan guys.
I am guilty as charged there. All right, dude. Well, let's speaking of these bags, let's kind of jump into it. So the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna bring up the category and tell you what I picked, and just kind of run over a couple of the pointers for my runner-up and the bag that I picked, and then we'll see what you ended up picking. Now, the first category is your favorite sling or your best sling. I'm not sure if this is favorite or best. It kind of like these two things merge into each other. But for me, it's sort of like the best of both worlds. So for me last year, my number one sling of choice was the Bellroy Venture Ready Sling 2.5 liter. It's a little guy, no padding, super malleable. But this year, the Toshi rework sling really caught my attention. Have you had the chance to look at this one yet?
I haven't checked that one out. I have checked out their backpack, which is excellent. But
Awesome. I haven't seen their backpack yet. Okay, well, the sling, it's crazy, dude. The sling has been blowing up, and so deservingly so. They're this little brand out of San Fran, a brother and a sister, and they just released this sling, and everyone's freaking out about it, and deservingly so. So shout out to them for what they did with that sling. It's a super feature-heavy sling with external lash points on the bottom, this really cool compression ability, really nice features across the board. But ultimately, for my top sling, the Bellroy Venture Ready 2.5 liter retained its crown. And it's still my top sling choice. I just love its malleability. I love that it's like an ultimate pocket reliever. I can appreciate a big sling, but I find myself when I'm using slings just to kind of look for one of those little crossbodies, look and fly with my Jordans on, obviously. So that's why I kind of just always go back to the to the Bellroy Venture Ready 2.5. So for me, sling number one for this year. But I'm curious, Danny, top slings. What you looking at?
All right. Well, this was one of the easier categories because in general I don't use as many sling bags. So I'll start with the runner-up, which for me was the Bellroy Venture, the 6-liter edition, which I love Bellroy's aesthetic, and the Venture slings they just have a really cool kind of rugged feel. I also like how flat they can pack down, and then
the compression is so good on that
Yeah.
bag. It's the best compressible sling I've ever seen. Where it just cinches on either side and it goes like a pancake, But then when you put more gear in it, it really can breathe.
Totally, totally. And I love that you can actually fully remove the strap on it. Like it's got the dual
100%.
buckles, so it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like a pouch if I need it to be. And yeah, it's a really, really useful one. I like that it's a little bigger too. Sometimes that can be nice with a sling is, it can hold a water bottle, it can hold the sunglasses, the things that I would actually want in a sling and maybe not need a backpack for. So that one was a close second, but the top one for me is spoilers, of course, at Evergoods. You called it the Civic Access Sling 2 liters
I
has
would have
been
seen
the
that
one.
coming.
I love the look, but one of the things that I love the most about it is that I've noticed that a lot of slings, they don't have like the most voluminous compartment on the front. And I like that that one has that big section so you can wear it on your waist, you can wear it as a sling bag, and it feels a little more comfortable to store bulkier items in that one. And so, I've
That's a
really
great
liked,
point.
yeah.
It does have like that sort of like larger. What was the word that you used? I love that.
I don't need voluminous, is that?
I don't even know that's a word, dude, but I love it. So voluminous, sort of opening, and you're right, dude. Like you can fit like a big old Nalgene water bottle in there if you need to, and if you don't need to, it's still got that rugged sort of look. That crossover look that Evergoods is so freaking good at. And unlike the Bellroy Venture or the Toshi or your Bellroy Venture that you were talking about, those don't really double up as a fanny too well. Now,
No.
I'm cool with that because you wouldn't catch me dead
I was
wearing
gonna
a
ask
bag.
you.
Here, I haven't made that transition yet in my life. It'll happen. I know it will, and I'm looking forward to the day. Haven't gotten there yet. But when it does, I'll probably be switching over to the Evergoods Cast 2 because it gives you that best of both worlds. And that's hard for a lot of slings to sort of double up as both. But Evergoods, in their typical fashion, just their wizardry, they nailed it as to where it can do both.
It's nice and breathable too. Like not all of the slings have that like padding, on the section that's on you.
You do get a little bit of that padding with the classic Evergood stitching and that extra breathability. So, okay, this will be the first of 7 Evergoods bags that Danny will be recommending on this conversation. The first one being the Cast 2. Can I say, wasn't surprised, but also a fantastic choice.
Cool.
All right, so best slings, locked in. Danny picking the Evergoods Cast 2. I'm picking the Bellroy Venture Ready Sling 2.5 liter. You feel good about that, Danny?
I feel good. I like that one. I haven't tried that one, but it looks like
Oh, you got to, bro. You have to. It's so badass. All right, cool. All right, we're slinged up. Now we're going to be moving it up into backpacks. So with backpacks, I got a lot of different categories. I also could have done like different sling categories. I think next year I might do best big sling and best small sling. We got a lot of feedback. Like, well, what about like 6-liter slings and 7-liter slings? So maybe I'll split it for next year's. But for backpacks, we got a lot of categories, and we're going to start with the best small backpack. Now, do you ever use small backpacks, Danny?
not that often. Sometimes they're good for packing, like packable bags. I like smaller bags because it'll fit into. And I know some of the squishy packable bags that can be 20 liters and they look kind of small, but in general, I don't go too far under 20 liters typically. It just find that it looks a little funky on me. Or it feels.
How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm 5'8", so I mean, it fits my frame a little bit better. I just got. Actually, I'm gonna keep it over this closet real fast. I just got this small bag from Osprey. This little 10-liter,
yeah.
the Osprey Arcane. When I was in Austin for the past 2 weeks, this is my my EDC, and I just loved having it. Like, not a lot of space, so it was very small. Because I'd be walking all day long, right? But I have my laptop as well, work stuff, to get a little bit of work done as well. So I do love me a small backpack. But I guess that it can really extend to different categories as to where it's like a small EDC like that, compressible bag, maybe like even there's bags that can dual up as slings or messengers. So for me, I have a feeling this Osprey might be on next year's list, but for me, I had 2 actually. Well, my runner-up was you'll like this. It was my first Go Ruck that I ever put on my power rankings with the 16-liter double compartment. Now it's kind of a cheat pick because it's 16 liters, but it packs like a 23 liter, But at the end of the day, it has that smaller frame, So for the smaller ladies out there, or somebody just looking for a bag with a smaller silhouette that's not as oppressive, it doesn't feel that big, but it packs a punch. So I love that double compartment. It's the ripstop nylon version that I reviewed. Have you played with Go Ruck ripstop bags,
Yeah,
Danny?
yeah. I've always really liked it. I like that it's a little kind of broken in and soft. It feels weather resistant. So I know there was some hesitancy when those were released, but I've really liked them so far.
Yeah, for me, like someone like who I don't need 1000D Cordura, like the ripstop fabric was more accessible for a Go Ruck bag for
Yeah.
me, where I was like,
Hmm.
this makes sense for me. This is a fabric that I can like with on a daily basis and like really enjoy, as opposed to that 1000D. I don't need it, and it's just a bit much. But having said that, well, I loved the Go Ruck. My winner for the best small backpack is a repeat winner. It's the one that I chose last year as well, which is the Able Carry 13 backpack. This is our second shout out to Able Carry on this podcast. There might be more. Danny, have you used the Able Carry 13 before?
Yeah, that's a really impressive one. I remember it was a little smaller than what I typically like, but the layout and it had able carries, awesome everything, build quality and style, and it was a really nice compact bag. Still held a laptop, so really really cool.
And what I like about that bag too is it's quite a versatile bag as to where sometimes if I use a smaller bag, it might want to be like my beach bag, where I just want to throw a towel and a water bottle and like some sunscreen in it. Or, when I'm in Hong Kong, the one time a year I'll go on a hike, like I'll bring that bag with me. I don't want like, 60 pounds of gear, right? So like just my hike stuff for the day, a couple snacks. And so able carry bags can do that outdoor stuff pretty well. Not like a serious hiking bag, but it can get the job done while also being great for an urban stroll or a day pack as well. I mean, you were talking about the Max EDC, and their bags are just sort of like scaled up versions or smaller sizes of each other, right? I mean, in essence, you're getting the same silhouette, just sort of a couple different features, and then either 30 liters at their biggest, I think, and 13 liters at their smallest. So pardon me, top small backpack for Aaron is the Able Carry 13. Danny, the mic is yours, though. What bag did you choose?
It was definitely there. It was kind of a toss up. I really love the Air City Pack, and like you said with the double compartment bullet ruck, it feels like it carries a little bigger than 16, which is probably why I like it. And it's just a really great slimmer bag. It still feels like it has just such an impressive feature set for being listed at 16 liters. And so really love that one as kind of a work bag when I'm not carrying as much stuff. But I think probably the top choice would have to go to one of the ripstop bullet rucks, the 14 liter. I was really impressed with how much, like just the single compartment 14 liter ripstop nylon version. That's smaller than what I would normally use, but as a small backpack, it was impressive how much it held, how it carried, and it also still had the dedicated laptop, kind of compartment. I really don't like having my laptop in the main area with all my other stuff. It just always, it's a little bit of a pain to fish it out really quickly if I'm using that for work. And the bullet rucks, they have the lumbar support on the harness, which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's the one Go Ruck bag that has like that extra support. And so yeah, it's just really great, lightweight. It's a great packable bag. That's one of the reasons I like it too. Is like if I want something a little more full featured when I arrive wherever I'm going, it's a reliable, solid option.
It's funny because I would think in the world of Evergoods, I have like maybe an associate's degree, but you have like a double PhD. Like you've done your thesis. You're getting tenure at this point. You're like a professor. So like I didn't even know that was a Go Work bag. I haven't reviewed that one yet. Like, I mean, they have so many variations of their bags, and they kind of like some go out and some come back in, and there's all these different fabrics, and there's double and single compartments. So I still get confused with Go Ruck's offerings sometimes. But it's good to know that there are still some Go Ruck bags that I haven't reviewed yet. I'm sure there's still a lot, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you said your version, the one that you picked, the 14, is a ripstop fabric as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, I'm not sure if it's still available. It was available. It was ripstop. I know they have the 15 liter bullets that don't have a laptop compartment. So this version that I'm mentioning had the separate laptop area, which was part of what I really liked about it.
Got it. All right. Best small backpack. We got it set in stone. We got the Able Carry 13 and the Go Ruck 14 liter. We're going to move on to probably the biggest category for me personally. And I'm an EDC guy. It's funny, I got into the backpack game for my love for travel bags, but then it's quickly been like, I don't travel as much as I EDC. I carry my EDC bag every day, and then I developed a much more special relationships with that bag because of it. So this category is favorite or best EDC bag. Now,
Totally.
I cheated. on this one for the power rankings, where I picked my own bag. And the reason is like I wanted to give the actual recommendations that I use, right? So if I need a small backpack, I'm usually grabbing the Able Carry 13, right? If I need any of these bags, these are the ones that I'm rocking. So obviously I'm rocking the bag that I made. It's the Fire T22. If you don't know about it, you can just Google it. But my other one that's not my bag that I picked is the Air City Pack Pro, which is possibly the most recommendable bag in the world, along with maybe the CPL 24, and yeah, I think those two probably. And it's interesting because I hate, when I first got into the bag game, dude, I hated an EDC that was larger than 18 liters. I'd be like, y'all are carrying too much gear. What happened to good old fashioned minimalism? But over the years, I kind of get the appeal of the 24-liter EDC. I'm still not there with 26. I'm not there with the Able Carry Max. Yeah, that's too fucking big. But like that 24 liters gives you such a versatility as to where I'm not rocking it fully packed out every day, right? But those days where I just got something that happened, and I just need that little extra space, whether I'm riding around on a moped in Vietnam, or I'm walking around, in Hong Kong, or I'm taking on a weekend trip. The Air City Pack Pro does that so well. And obviously, doing a lot of laptop work, it's just got great tech protection. Chunky old shoulder straps, like big old beefy ones with incredible ventilation. So for me, I actually ended up using the one in Ultra for a few months, and I like Ultra. I don't love the aesthetic of it, but the feel of it, this kind of just vibe that it gives, I do think it's really interesting. So for me, top EDC that's not my own bag is going to be the Air City Pack Pro. It's so recommendable. But I'm curious, Danny, what is your top EDC bag of 2025?
That's such a tough. You're right. This is definitely the toughest category. There's so many, and City Pack Pro, I couldn't say a bad thing about it. I love that bag. Like, such an easy recommendation. I was trying to narrow it down. I had like 4 choices here, and
oh yeah, all right, let's go deep. I'm ready.
First I had some that are maybe like not the obvious choices that I find myself gravitating towards. When I'm just like, what bag haven't I used in a while? So one of them is the Packed Day Pack, the 22-liter backpack from Packed. I know that there's some areas for improvement on it, but there's something about like the shape and the layout, the way the pockets have that volume on the front. It has the dedicated laptop area, and then it's just a great size for most days when I'm not carrying like as much stuff.
100%, dude. I love that bag. I love the fabrics. I love the old school look, but not too old school. It still feels modern.
Yeah.
My only gripe with that bag, and I think deservingly so, and that I've heard from everyone else, just the price point. Yeah. It's a little hard to justify what they're asking for, in my opinion. I don't run their business. I don't know what their margins are. So, but it's just that's the hard pill to swallow with that bag. But if you're looking for a nice bag and you don't mind dishing out some cash on it, it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. Another sort of dark horse that I like, that I've been throwing out a lot as of late, is there's a company called Baboon to the Moon. I love that name. The City Pack from them is just such a great update to like the classic JanSport or Herschel backpack. It's got excellent laptop protection, which is just, I wouldn't expect it from that bag. It's got a luggage pass-through with the right orientation. We know that there's a right. You place it down, it's upright, you can get to your laptop, and it's just got a great build quality. It's got a pretty robust harness system, and so those are two of the, I guess, dark horse and 24 liters I think is what it's listed at, if I'm remembering correctly. And I agree with you. 24 liters is still sort of the sweet spot for me, because when I look at a bag, I try to think of it, if I was only going to have one bag, what's the size, right? Because we try a lot of bags, but maybe people are just looking for that one bag, and 24 is probably the size that I would go with. I still aspire to be as ultra minimalist like you one day and travel with a.
I gave up on it. I can't. It's too hard.
So I love those two. But ultimately, I think that if, the one that's close to my heart that I always come back to as like my top EDC is the GoRuck GR1 21 liter. Don't ask me to narrow down which version, because there used to be just the one Heritage Edition, which was like my favorite in the dark oak. But man, the new X-Pack edition, I've just been loving, because they fixed the zipper issues, Aqua Guards, X-Pack. It looks and feels great, and then it's just got that profile that is super slim and yet magically spacious all in one.
I mean, that simplicity in GoRuck's design allows that to happen, as
Yeah.
to where it looks very slim and a really just kind of a sexy silhouette.
Yeah.
But because of that simplicity, it could pack out. It really can. And you're like, oh my god, did I just put all this stuff in this bag? Every GoRuck bag feels like it's 3 or 4 liters bigger than advertised, which is one of the best parts about it. And it's so cool. So you're a big fan of GoRuck X-Pack? I haven't tested a GoRuck bag in X-Pack yet. I could imagine it working very well.
Yeah, the original release that they did had the zippers that were very stiff. I never got to use that version, but I saw a lot of feedback on it, and people said that it just took forever to break in, and so there was concern with this new edition getting released, and I've been super thrilled from the moment I got it. It was just buttery smooth, and then with the quick access pockets that they've now added to a lot of their newer GR1s, I mean, it's just like. I did a whole video talking about my love for like the minimalist sweet spot that the GR1 was able to hit, and so yeah, that's still, if I had to pick my go-to, that's the one I've been going to.
Hey, keeping it classy. I mean, GoRuck's what started your whole love for
Yeah.
bags, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got a lot of other companies out there, and they're they got amazing offerings, whether it's Baboon to the Moon or Pact or whatever. But you're always keeping it classy. I mean, that GR1 will always be close to your heart.
Yeah, definitely. Still, and
All right.
they just keep giving you new flavors, so
All right, so that's 2 GoRucks and 1 Evergoods for you so far.
Yeah, but I threw in a few other.
I know you're going to spice it up at some point. I can't wait, all right? I know we're getting closer. All right, so to summarize that, I picked the Air City Pack Pro for my favorite EDC. Danny packs with the GoRuck GR1 21 liter.
Yep.
Awesome. Moving on to the next category. A more interesting category where I think that I had a harder time kind of picking this one because I've gone so many different ways with it, which is the best personal item, which, like you said on your flights to Asia, that bag that you're flying with and popping underneath the seat in front of you. Now, there's different ways to do it. Are you one bag traveling, so it's like a 26 liter, or and it's just your only bag that's going underneath? Are you traveling with a suitcase and you want a big 26 liter backpack as well to kind of double up on space? So you don't have to check anything, or is it just like I don't mind throwing things over top and checking things, and I want something smaller underneath? There's different ways to kind of look at it. For me, I'm not talking about one bagging right now. I'm talking about just like, I already have a bag carry-on or check-in, probably maybe even both. So this is the bag I'm just going to pop underneath. And for me, last year was the Air Tech Sling 3. Now, I'm not a tall dude. I guess at 5'9" on a really good day, usually 5'8". So like I don't need as much leg room, but I still like to have the leg room, right? So I usually don't like to have a big bag underneath the seat in front of me. So I usually go with the AirTech Sling 3 because it's small and really just has the things that I need, which is going to be Kindle, laptop, 2 pairs of headphones, couple snacks, maybe a water bottle, bada bing, bada boom, right? And then, I don't like to check a bag, so anything that I need is just over top. If I need that one other thing, I just get up because I always get this out of the seat and grab it. So I love the AirTech Sling 3 for those reasons, as to where it gives me the things that I need, which is usually just tech stuff. I like to work when I'm flying. I usually don't I just need my laptop, and I'll read as well on top of it. So I love it for how small it is. It doesn't take up too much space, and it's just so easy to kind of move around, grab the things that I need. I can still wear it on my chest if needed be. It's kind of a bigger chest play, but more or less, my runner-up was the, what was it? I always forget the name of this alpaca. It's the Alpaca Bravo Tote Pack. Have you seen that one, Danny?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's an interesting one.
It is, and what I like about that for a personal item is to where you are getting a backpack and tote in one, right? So you can stow away the straps, and sometimes as a personal item, you don't want to carry it in backpack mode. You just want to stow away the straps, and you're holding it handheld, which I quite like about the Alpaca Bravo Tote Pack. And it's also a great bag because all the access is like this access, right? Looking down, right? So when it's underneath the seat in front of you, you don't have to like grab the bag out and try to do like a side zipper. It's all top access, which makes it very easy for a personal item. So shout out to Alpaca for the Bravo Tote Pack. I love that bag. I thought it was a great, clean, professional personal item. But for me, the Air Tech Sling 3 still took the victory. Have you tested the Tech Sling 3 before,
Yeah.
Danny?
Yeah, they're really solid. I mean, Air is one of those brands that's like right alongside GoRuck and Evergoods for me. Like, just love all their stuff. Talk about them a lot. So, yeah.
By the way, yeah, I always break your balls for Evergoods and GoRuck, but you should do the same thing for me with Air because I'm such an Air fanboy. Like, I think I got like 3 Airs.
Me
on
too.
this
I
list, so.
can't. No, I love Air. So and there may be some air
Like,
options.
like people ask me like, would I ever quit Nomads Nation? I'm like, never. Like, if someone asks me, but what if Air offered you a job? I'm like, oh, maybe. I could be tempted.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. They're amazing.
So, all right. So, Air Tech Sling 3, my pick. Danny, personal item. Where are you taking it?
All
What's
right.
the
Yeah, I
name?
mean, I love the setup you did there because there are a lot of different directions to go with this. I'm more of the like take a 26-liter bag, and I think there's the aspirational side of me that loves the idea of just traveling with a bag that fits under your seat. And so I think I can get away pretty long with a 26-liter bag. One day I'm gonna start doing laundry when I'm abroad. So far, I've managed to make it through trips. I'm like, I will not do laundry on this trip. So,
Uh huh.
which gets challenging in
That
2 weeks.
that's the key though. If you want to travel later, that's all you got to do. Just if it's a 5 day trip, on day 3, just do laundry, and then you're good.
I know, but it's vacation.
I, not trying to run errands on vacation.
Yeah, no. But I like to have a little bit of a larger bag. I also feel like it's my duty to really push the limits of what can work as a personal item to see
You're one of those.
what I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
share on the channel, right? Like,
Stick it to the man.
and so yeah, there's a ton of options that I've really enjoyed testing out over the years on this in this category. Like I mentioned, the Able Carry Max EDC was fantastic as far as just something that I feel comfortable wearing it all day. Able Carry's harnesses are just excellent, and
One of the best.
yeah. And for this trip, it was helpful because it was cold, so I had jackets, I had a hat, I had we were also doing shopping, of course, in Korea and Japan, and so you could just put a bunch of stuff in there. And then it, can compress down. It had the luggage pass through. I was traveling with a roller, and so, it was just really, really functional. And then I also got caught in some rain, and it's an X-Pack fabric, so
Yeah.
yeah, so a little bit heavier. The dimensions probably wouldn't actually match up with what a lot of these airlines would say, but it worked out pretty well. So that's a great one.
Well, yeah, that's like that gray area with like personal items. It's like, I could still fit it under my seat. It might not fit into your little box, but I'm still going to fit it under the seat. So is that a personal item? It's sort of opaque territory that we're
Gotta
going
wear your
into.
backpack and just never let
Yeah,
them look at you. I'm just like, excuse me, sir, can you? Nope.
Bro, you know what they're doing? You know what they're doing in China is because their airline restrictions are getting so hardcore. They're selling like trench coats with like 70 pockets in it.
I've
So
seen
you just pack up on your trench coat. You're just like, I don't have a bag. I'm good to go. It's next level right there.
I'm actually shocked airlines don't sell a backpack that's theirs that's just like, buy this and we'll always let you on. Spirit or EasyJet, get some referrals if you end up coming out with that. Cause
It's actually like that's a layup for them, right? Because
Yeah.
if you travel, you take it like my mom, like for instance, she comes back and forth from Connecticut to Florida. She flies the same airline every time, So like, it's Breeze, whatever budget airline that is. So like, if she had if Breeze sold a backpack and they were like, we guarantee you that this will be considered the certain. Well, dude, you are an entrepreneurial genius, bro.
the
Like,
diplomatic pouch right there. It's like, don't even need to look at it, like just straight through. So one
wow,
day,
dude, you just blew my mind.
yeah, hopefully they'll reach out and be like, hey man, let's partner up.
Yeah, if that ever happens, like you got to sue because you deserve a percentage of commission. I'm not saying 50%, but at least 20.
At least it's recorded here. We have a timestamp and it'll be proof that you heard it here on the
Exactly.
Nomad Nations
The
podcast.
date is February 4th, 2025, 1:38 p.m. Okay, cool. We got it. So
All
Danny,
right.
is that the pick then? Is it the Able Carry Max for the personal?
No, sorry, I'm stalling here for the. I mean, I think, and so the other one that I had selected here is the Patagonia Mini MLC. This is one that I talk about a lot, and it's one of my most popular videos, and rightfully so because Patagonia is one of these legacy brands that is very popular, and I guess in the more niche bag space maybe doesn't get as much recognition for this bag, but every time I come back to it, I'm always shocked at how versatile it is because it's 30 liters, so again, gray area of bag size that's probably not going to meet the dimensions of a lot of the airlines, but it just has layout that can hold an impressive amount. It's fairly flexible, which allows you to squeeze it into tight spaces. And then it's just got all the things that, we call out on the channel. The water bottle pocket, the pass-through. It's pretty comfortable. They also have the really clever implementation where the waist belt, you can take it off and then use it as a shoulder strap if you want to hide the straps away. It's got the laptop compartment. So that would be my second runner-up. And then, I hate to do it, but I got to do it again. The GoRuck GR2 26 liters has consistently been like my reliable go-to personal item. I think when we last talked, I even had one up that I was about to use as a personal item on an upcoming trip because it still manages to meet the height of a lot of the airlines. It's not a tall bag. And then that layout. I mean, you've experienced it with the double compartment Bullet Ruck. It's the same thing, just a little bit bigger. And it just, that's the type of thing where, particularly since I'm always traveling with my wife, we're trading items that, we're trying to manage weight across bags. And then we arrive, we're carrying a lot of stuff. And so I love that layout. And it's something I can still EDC.
Interesting. Was that your top pick?
Yeah, I think that's still going to be the top pick is the GR2.
Got it. I think that it's interesting. We just showed such a wider range of this personal item conversation, and what one personal item is to someone is something different to someone else. So then we give a pretty. We got slings. We did smaller backpacks, bigger backpacks. So if someone's watching this looking for a personal item recommendation, they're probably going to be overwhelmed with options. But final answers were AirTech Sling 3 for me, and the GoRuck GR2 for you, Danny. Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of swinging back and forth between that and the Able Carry, if only just to give a little bit of love to an alternative. This is why I split my list stuff into classics and new bags, because I don't know. You know what? I'll go with the Able Carry Max EDC, and then
he just pulled a 90-degree right there, last second.
I'm switching.
You're like that meme of the highway and the vehicle just turning last second. That's what you just did.
That's right. Keeping you on your toes.
No shit, dude. All right, so let's talk about large backpacks, large travel backpacks.
Yes.
You ever use a 35+ liter bag for traveling?
Yeah, and I do, and I actually was that's interesting you say that, because large to me is above 40, and then 35 is carry on. And so that's what I looked at for this category was 40.
No, that's fine. My pick is actually 45 liters, I think. So I used to use bags like this a lot 4 or 5 years ago. It was just me and my Tortuga. And spoiler alert, the Tortuga Travel Backpack Lite is taking the throne for me this year, dethroning the Tortuga Travel Backpack Pro, which I picked for last year. It was a battle of the brothers. It was a bloodfest, but there could only be one, and the Lite dethroned the Pro. And the reason is because, as the name suggests, is the lightness for me. It just shedded maybe a pound, I think it was, because the Pro, while Tortuga, and it's funny, I interviewed Fred from Tortuga, the co-founder, yesterday on this podcast. That should be live now, too, if anybody wants to see. And Tortuga is such a cool company because they don't do EDC gear. They're like, we are a travel bag company, and we just focus on that. That is our niche, and I think that's what's allowed them to make such amazing travel bags, because they are relentlessly dedicated to this one niche of bags. And that's why I think for my large travel bags, I've just always gone to Tortuga. Comfort, durability, we're really having really nice materials. You've got the X-Pack with the Pro if you want something more technical. You've got the ballistic nylon with the Light if you want something that's a little bit lighter and just more, has a little more abrasion resistance, I'd say, versus the X-Pack. So for me, the Tortuga Travel Backpack Light was the winner. I don't find myself traveling with large backpacks as much anymore because I find that they're just harder to travel with. They're going to get checked usually. And if I know a bag's going to get checked, I'll just take a suitcase and just say, take it, you fuckers. Just check it. Just take it. And I'll just have my personal bag with me. But if I am doing a larger travel bag sort of trip, Tortuga Travel Backpack Light. Final answer all day. Danny, what is your selection?
All right.
And do you have any thoughts on Tortuga?
Yeah, first of all, big ups to Tortuga. I think they're amazing as well. I've actually been a long proponent. I think they have some of the most underrated daily sized bags. This one right here on the wall, one of my all-time favorites. This is the set-out laptop backpack, which is no longer available. I even reached out to Tortuga. I was like, can you bring this back, please? Please. Or can I bring it back somehow? Because I just love it, and I like the newer laptop travel backpack they did last year or so. And so I think that they're underrated, but they are more travel focused. So I think you're right. That niche.
Well, yeah. Well, and just to clarify too, I mean, I brought this up with Fred yesterday. He's like, our bags can be used for EDC, like the laptop bag and the one behind you while it was still in stock. But at the end of the day, we're always looking through the lens of travel. So they are designed to be day bags, but a day bag is an EDC bag in essence. But that's what's so cool about them. So props to them, too.
Totally. And I constantly say this on the channel. I think they have the best harnesses, in the game. Like they're just so comfortable. As far as large travel backpacks, though, the one that I like I said, I don't use larger bags that often. And when I do, it tends to be more of a duffel sort of layout, just because I find that duffel bags, even if they're 45, they don't always look huge, which is great, because I can still maybe place it into an overhead storage compartment a little bit more easily. And if I do have to check it, well, so be it.
Let's talk about this, because I don't understand this. You will travel via airline with a duffel?
Yeah.
Now, are you carrying it with a suitcase?
No, it would be with a backpack.
So you're just doing like the duffel pimp walk through the airport as you're going from like gate to gate, and like that seems so uncomfortable to me, dude. Why? Pitch me on it. I want to understand it.
Well, it's that's the trade-off you accept. First off, I'll say there's no great way to manage that. So when you go in knowing that you're gonna maybe hate that a little bit, and I did a trip where I was walking quite a bit and I was hating myself a little bit, but the duffel was so spacious and it's just so flexible. That's the thing about the duffels is like if I'm just packing clothes and shoes in particular, this was a trip where I had a lot of outfit changes. It was going to be like all sorts of different places we were going, and so I just needed a little bit more flexibility. And then the duffels are lighter than a roller bag, right? So that helps as well. That's often what determines it. Is 8 pounds on a roller bag is just like a duffel bag weighs way less typically.
For sure.
So it's the weight, the space, and then being able to like really squeeze it in, because I don't have delicate items in the duffel bag. It's just clothing. And then I have the backpack with all the other stuff. And so sometimes I'll like sling it around my neck and wear it on the front like a little baby, or like and then if not, I'll do the walk, but it's usually short term, right? So
yeah, I guess that makes sense. So so all the pros, the malleability, the the Grand Canyon style, cave where you can fit everything,
the weight.
The weights, there's a lot of pros, and that one con of just that lack of comfort. You just kind of grit your teeth and suck it up, and you just remind yourself of all the reasons why you're doing this. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
And so the options I have here, I would say, are a little bit of a cheat because they're kind of hybrid options. So
I like this.
The runner-up, I would say, is I've been using this Filson hybrid duffel bag, which actually has backpack straps.
You classy son of a rocking the Filson. Nice.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's like 45 or 46 liters, and it's got the U-shaped duffel opening, so you can just like, pop it open, which is a must. I don't like that mid
Yes.
And so it's got 2 nice big pockets on the outside. You can wear it as a duffel, so I've been pairing it with a backpack, but I could see myself just traveling with that and putting like a bullet ruck inside of it, potentially. But I would say that my top choice for like a large travel bag that I've used a few times is the Matador Seg series. Have you seen their like 42, 45 liter duffel? I know they've updated it, but man, that layout and that flexibility is just so tough to beat. Like, I love the cubes.
Wait, hold on. So which one's the Seg? I gotta get the
It's got all the built-in packing cubes, like the little Seg.
Okay, so I've reviewed the 28, which I thought was like really cool, and I was like, I haven't traveled with it yet. I really want to though, to kind of experience it and be like, is this a gimmick or is it brilliant? You're a supporter.
I'm a big. It takes some getting used to, but I think that it's so flexible and unique. And I don't know, I've used the layout in a ton of different ways. And, you can also open it like the duffel. So I've put boots in there. I've put like those big things that just normally don't fit anywhere else. And then the cubes themselves just make it very easy to organize my stuff. And then you don't have to use them. And they improved the layout on the latest editions. The Seg 28 that you mentioned, it's got water bottle now, a much better harness system. I was using the original and I still, lived with the trade-offs because of the layout, and now the new version is just, killer. So, big recommendation there.
You said it was so uniquely designed, and I couldn't agree more. When I reviewed it, I was like, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
they basically just made packing cubes as a part of the bag, which is a bit prescriptive for some, you know,
Yeah.
but I think that if you buy into their system, that could be a really cool way to stay organized, cut down on complications, and wait a little bit. So that's an interesting pick. All right, you're making me want to now travel with a duffel and with the Matador Seg 45 to really, you know, I've been doing Tortuga for 5 years. I gotta expand, it seems like, and try some new things out.
Totally. I recommend it, and you can still use packing cubes with it. I totally do, and you know that's the cool thing about it is it's just very adaptable.
Well, we were just talking about duffels, so, you know, I think it's meant to be seamless transition here. The next category is the best duffel, for which I had two. And these duffels were very different user experiences as to one is the Packed One Travel Duffel 35 liter, which in my opinion, like, although I haven't actually used it on a flight, full disclosure, I just think is if you got a laptop and you are airline traveling, it's a great duffel because it's just built for that, right? It's built for TSA, it's built for, you know, carry-on, it's built for quick access, it's built for all these things. Shout out to Packed for making a truly unique, well-designed duffel that has like a cult-like following. But for me, that's the runner-up. But for my winner, takes the throne this year, is the same as the one I picked last year, which is the Boundary Supply Errant Duffel, which is a bit more like an old school type duffel. New school in terms of fidlock magnets, X-Pack materials, waterproof zippers, you know, all the stuff that you want to kind of feel like it's got some panache to it, but more of a basic duffel experience. I don't think it has the U-shape opening. The new packed duffels that I reviewed have that. A few other duffels that I actually do like that U-shape opening now that you mention it. You just kind of, you know, so it's like that double zipper and you're just in. The Boundary Supply is more just the traditional zip down the middle, but it really, really opens up. It's not too tight. Like, you need that wide opening, which I always liked about it. And there are, for those scenarios where you don't want to do the duffel pimp walk, you know, it's got backpack straps, right? So it's not the best backpack mode. You know, there's no structure in the back panel, obviously, but it gives you the straps for those times when you need it, which I was always a fan of. So that's why it's my pick for my favorite duffel. But have you tried that one, Danny, the Boundary Supply Errant duffel?
I tried a version a few years ago. I don't know if it's been updated, but it was solid. You know, it was really typical Boundary Supply, just really modern, cool, sort of innovative design. I think it had the shoe compartment and the straps were pretty comfortable. So yeah, it was a solid option.
Well, what's your selection then?
I feel like I kind of spoiled myself with the Filson duffel, the hybrid duffel. I mean, since I saw it, it's a newer bag on my radar. I got it kind of the end of last year, but man, like you said, it looks so classy. It looks,
dude,
really
yeah. I could see it in my head, but now I'm actually looking at it. That's a beautiful duffel. I mean, Filson, they make really nice gear. Not cheap. You know, you pay for the Filson, but fun fact, you can get it on Huckberry right now for like $100 off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a beautiful duffel right there. Have you actually traveled with it before? You said?
I've been doing more. I haven't taken it on a flight yet. I've been doing more road trips with it, and you know, for family stuff and the holidays. Definitely something I would be excited to try traveling with, and it's just cool because it another nice feature with it. I know some people are not big on shoe compartments. I actually am a big fan of having a built-in shoe, like, separated from my main area compartment. And that one actually has it, which I wouldn't expect on such a heritage sort of bag.
For sure.
And so when I'm traveling, my dirty stuff goes in there, particularly dancing. Again, that's always the running theme for me. I'll go to these events, get super sweaty. I don't want to put my stuff with the clean items.
Dude, I have so many questions about you and dancing. We'll say that for a different podcast, or I want to know all about salsa and all your dance moves and everything, but for a different pod. So let's keep the train moving then. Filson was your final answer for the duffel?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fucking, you talked about road trips too, and there's a great conversation there about like a road trip duffel and an air. We have to do more podcasts, Danny. This is not enough time for all the topics. All right, but next up we're doing the best messenger or briefcase, right? Because it's sort of, you know, messengers or briefs. Briefs are sometimes messengers because they're not old school briefs anymore, where it's like that square dad brief, you know, the box. So last year I picked the Air Pro brief. You know, Air fanboy here a little bit. So great brief, lightweight, malleable, versatile, but not too many pockets. But that ended up getting dethroned for me this year. We reviewed the Black Ember Forge SB. SB is shoulder bag and catapulted to the top for me. I love The handles, you get a lot of space in between top of the handle and like top of the bag. That whole gappage right there is great. The shoulder strap was comfortable and has a nice clingy sort of material that doesn't slide all over the shirt. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a big brief messenger user. I'll kind of rock one every now and then, maybe just to go to the coffee shop to get some work done or to test out bags for the channel. That goes without saying, right? We're always testing bags, but like I'm more of a backpack guy, but it's funny. I always know a bag is good. At Nomads Nation, we've had our media manager Margaret. She's been working with us for about 3 years, and she loved the bag. And she's the harshest critic of bags ever. If Margaret started a review channel, every bag would be like, it sucks. I don't like it. But she loved the SB, and that's how I know. That's how I knew it was like a really really good bag. She was like, it's perfect. It's got this clamshell style opening. Black Ember bags are so cool and interesting, and they're one of the companies that I respect the most. But I never really found them to be in my actual arsenal. It just didn't fit with the way that I liked to EDC or to travel. But this one, I was like, I get it. The stars aligned. There's bells going off in my head, and yeah, have you tried that one?
I have, and like you said, Black Ember just is so interesting as far as the materials they use, their designs. I love the Citadel. That was in my top bags of last year list. Like, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, for a Go Ruck user, the Citadel sort of has like a similar silhouette in some ways, but obviously Black Ember does so many things just to modernize the bags and give it their own little touch and their own little taste, and it's always so thoughtful what they do, and laser cut hypalon and removable handles. They're very, very good at what they do.
Seams, the water the seams and the water resistance is just,
which I wish that they would. I wish they would make more content about that so I can understand it more. Like, I understand they do that, but I want to understand like how that construction works and like how waterproof it is. So, Black Ember, if you ever listen to this, we'd love to get you on the pod and talk about that. But anyways, so that was my brief / messenger of choice. What about you, Danny? What's your relationship to briefs and messengers in general?
Much like you, I don't use them too much. It's just not my style. I'm a backpack guy, and so I tend to gravitate towards the backpacks more. But there's definitely a few that have stood out. I thought the Forge SB was a great option, but the one that I like the most when I think about that style of bag is probably the Mystery Ranch 3-way expandable briefcase. So a little bit of a cheat because it has the straps as a backpack. But
you keep doing that. I love it.
I don't use the straps that much because all the pocketing is oriented, so that it works better as a brief. You have it slung and you can reach down and grab everything. And so the 18-liter version of that it's maybe slightly large for a brief carry, but I like the layout. It's got that quick rip pocket on the front that's so satisfying to just pull up and just roll up to my office, and I'm like, whoa, let me get my keys.
This dude's serious. Do you see the way he just pulled that out? It's crazy. It's a power move.
Yeah, it's got a good laptop compartment, and then it can also expand, which is a pretty cool feature. And that's where the backpack straps come in more, is if you want to get away with using it for like a weekend trip or something, or work travel. You can see it being a really solid work travel bag if you don't want to walk in wearing the backpack. You can just
for sure
put them away, and it's also, the new version has a luggage pass-through, so it's a really good personal item as well. It's a good size for it, so yeah, that would be my top pick as far as sort of a brief. It does have brief in the title, okay? So
okay, that you're in the clear. Then it has brief in the title, so we're good to go. I love that point too about a personal item. I think that's why I like the AirTech Sling 3 so much as a personal item. It's sort of briefy in that sense, so it has that maneuverability, and I've always wanted to actually take the SB as a personal item with the suitcase, because those two things work very well, right? Because it sort of slides on the handle the right way, and then you got that space underneath your feet in front of you, so that's an interesting pick. Danny, I'm also curious, we're going a little bit over time. Do you have time to keep going, or should we be wrapping things up? I know you said you had about
Yeah, I think we got till we'd booked till 15, 20 more minutes. Should be good.
Okay, 30. Cool. We'll keep moving. I know you're a busy man, so I just want to make sure that we don't get in the way of your next appointment, your next podcast features. So, all right, so let's do this one fast. Best tote. Last year I picked the Day Owl packable tote, and also I like packable totes. I didn't do big, bulky, highly technical totes. I use the Nano Bag reusable tote bag, which I backed on Kickstarter. It's just this big old 21-liter tote that you can just scrunch down into yay big. It's great just to pop in your backpack anytime I'm in the city and I gotta grab some groceries. That's my go-to. What's your relationship with totes?
Like you, I'm not really that crazy about the form factor. Like, I probably wouldn't use it as like any sort of a tech bag or a travel bag, but I do agree on the packable totes option. I actually really like the Peak Design packable tote. It's just like packs down into a really tiny little thing. I throw it in my bag. I think totes are really great for like groceries or for the beach, things like that. And so it's become part of like my travel kit where I have
Yeah.
like, it just gives you extra space, and the Peak Design one does that well, right? It doesn't take up a lot of space, and then when I need it, it just gives me that extra bit of volume.
Perfect. All right. No offense to totes, but we're gonna move past the next thing now because I want to spend some time. Sorry to the tote community out there, but I want to talk about tech pouches because that's something that I love to talk about. It's funny. I think that I like tech pouches almost as much as backpacks these days, dude, because like you can just like change your EDC and you get this new tech thing and now this old pouch don't work for what you have anymore. And like I don't know, tech pouches are just a lot of fun for me. It's this new addiction that I never expected to have when I started this channel. For me, and I could talk for days about tech pouches, but for me, I got the two. Last year was the Alpaca Vertex pouch, which is like a great pouch because it can fit over the headphones in. That's the thing with pouches, like it really depends on what you're carrying. So when I put these into my daily EDC arsenal, I needed a tech pouch that could handle them. So that Alpaca Vertex was great for it.
Yeah.
But then I ended up just switching to these in their own case, and I switched to the modern Dayfarer tech pouch. Did you ever use this one before?
Yeah, that's a great one.
And I love that one because it's the thin one. It's like a little pancake, right? And what I liked about it, dude, is like, all right, so it can't fit bulkier items, but I use a Magic Mouse and like wires anyways, so I don't need a bulkier tech pouch. And I could just slide it into my tech compartment. So it doesn't take any space from the main compartment, whereas like bulkier tech pouches, they're carving out space. So that was my top pick for the year, the modern Dayfarer tech pouch, even though it's an older one. Like, it just kind of came back into my life, and I was putting it in my tech compartment. It opened up space in the bag. Modern Dayfarer makes great gear, German engineering, so that was my kind of surprise pick this year. But what about you, Danny? Do you feel as passionately as I do about tech bags?
I'm very passionate about it. I have they stress me out sometimes because there's so many, and like, but
It's so true.
but it's fun. I agree. Like, especially I love seeing all the loadouts that these companies kind of like come out with and the recommendations. So I'm with you, and this is a tough category to narrow down. I think my go-to my highest recommendation for most people is probably the Air Slim pouch. I think that's just fantastic as far as the form factor being slim, but it still has a pretty good ability to adapt if you want to put a larger mouse in there or something. And so that's the one like I gift friends and family all the time. My first love, as far as the pouches, is the GoRuck Wire Dop. I know it's shocking.
Haven't.
But this I always thought was such a genius design because it's super flat, and then it can handle my laptop charger and a mouse, and I don't know, it's just so simple and amazingly effective. And so that was one of the first ones that really caught my eye. I would say my top choice, at least recently, just because of I think the novelty or the innovation behind it, is the Evergoods Civic Access Pouch half liter, which is an incredible mini pouch, which it can work as a glasses case. It can hold my mouse. It can hold, it's just really impressive how they were able to pack in so much into such a small form factor. I actually have two of them because I was like, I know I'm going to load these out. I got one right behind me here, yeah.
Dude, it's a very controversial pouch as to where a lot of people get it and they're like, I love it. I don't know what to do with it though. I don't know what to pack in it. I keep hearing that about that, and it's true. It's a weird shape, but I love it. It's in my EDC every day, and I carry like my tools in it, like just like magnifying glass, little tape measure, Sharpie pens and whatnot. So I love that one too. Just like you said, for its innovation. I thought you were going to say the Cap 2, which I think is probably also one of the most easily recommendable bags in the world. It probably should be both of our top ones. Let's be honest. Like,
yeah,
it's just such
yeah.
incredible. It's incredible.
It's
Self-standing. Yeah, it is. But we're trying to mix it up a little bit, keep it interesting for everyone listening out there.
Also,
So
can you do a "What's in my bag" video as a detective? Because that toolkit you're carrying with you sounds fascinating. So that's got to be a whole nother video. Got the magnifying glass.
I'm actually sworn to secrecy. If I told you, I'd have to kill you, Danny. So unfortunately, we're not able to divulge that information. So, all right, I think that one day we'll have to do a tech pouch episode by itself because I could talk about 15 different tech pouches right now. But to keep the ball rolling, we've only got two categories left, Danny. Or is it one? I only had one written down. Two. All right, so next up is one bag travel pack, which we kind of like dipped our toes into a little bit earlier. For me, My pick last year was the Able Carry Max, which has been my pick for like 2 or 3 consecutive years. Love that bag. 30 liters, great for one bag travel. But this year, Bellroy released their light travel pack in a 30 liter and a 38 liter. And I brought it from a trip to Hong Kong to Vietnam. And oh my God, it just felt great. Like, it's so simple. And it uses a 350 denier material, which is so light and so packable, and really it's just that lightweightness. It feels great, and Bellroy beefed up the shoulder straps. They put the weight where the weight needs to be, which is the back panel and the shoulder straps, and everything else is lightweight, and it feels amazing, and it looks great, and it's one of my favorite bag releases of 2024. And it's cool to see Bellroy kind of mixing things up a little bit and going that lightweight route. I know a lot of people were upset that there weren't water bottle holders on it, but that aside, I thought it was a really impressive bag. Did you get the chance to check this one out?
Oh yeah, and I completely agree. I'm constantly impressed by how comfortable they managed to make it for being such a lightweight bag.
Me too.
Really, and I love that fabric as well. So. Mm-hmm. And the layout is just everything about it. I'm with you. It's an excellent option. I actually have a video coming out here in a bit that's going to be featuring it. So, lots of good things.
Nice teaser. Well done. Love how you plug the channel. Nice work. But was that not your pick? Do you got a different favorite one bag travel bag? I mean, you've got a lot in the rotation that we talked about. So is it? Yeah. I guess is it the Able Carry Max?
No. For this one, and this is maybe slightly larger than the 30 liter. The one that I have come back to year after year, always the top choice. As much as I try out a lot of different ones, the Air Travel Pack 3 for me continues to be. It was the first kind of serious travel backpack that I had many years ago, and it's been amazing to see them continue to iterate on it. And it does everything well, right? The harness is super comfortable. The durability, it's a little heavy. I know people aren't crazy about that. And the layout, it can be a little prescriptive, but I like that it has the clamshell opening. It's got the laptop area. And then the front admin section, the fact that it can go all the way down to the bottom. So you can just ignore all the organization and you have basically a secondary kind of main area. And so anyone who's seen my videos, I probably sound like a broken record, but that one continues to be just when I tell people, if you're not sure where to start, that's one of my favorite places to recommend because it just continues to hold up.
The Air Travel Pack 3 is like the marijuana of the backpack world, where it's the gateway drug. Usually a lot of people they'll get that and then they get hooked, and it's like, oh, yeah. I gotta try what else is out there. Yeah, you nailed it too. I think that the only consistent point of criticism with that bag is its weight. Aside from that, it's really hard to hate on. It's kind of a masterpiece. So Air knocks it out of the park with that. Now, I really thought you were gonna say the CTB for your one bag, but I have a feeling that is it in the next category?
Potentially.
Well, speaking of which, the last category is just the overall. How did I word it? Just like your top bag recommendation in general. Yeah, the end. Yeah, all right. I like that. The end game bag, which I think for me, I didn't have one last year because I didn't make this category last year. But for me, I guess this is just like the most recommendable bag. Like if I got a gun to my head, like, hey, you're going to Desert Island for a year, what's the one bag that you would take with you? I'm not an Evergoods fanboy. I love their stuff. I love Evergoods, but. The CPL 24 is just such an easy selection for that, as to where it can do so much and be so many different things, and it looks great on that hike that you might want to take it on. It doesn't feel out of place in the business meeting you might bring it to. You can take it on a trip. You can use it as your EDC. It's got 24 liters. It's more like 25 or 26, but it doesn't feel too big or bulky. It's got that quick access swing. I mean, it's just check across the board. And there's a reason why there's a cult-like following for this backpack on many baggers, and it's because Evergoods just made a classic, and it's just so awesome. So that's my pick for my my end bag. But Danny, what's
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have a runner-up right now.
If I had to pick a runner-up, it might be the Air City Pack Pro, which is weird because that was my EDC pick. And honestly, we're blurring lines at some point, and I kind of want to make it interesting too by not saying the same bags all the time. But yeah, I think that would be those two, with Evergoods taking a slight lead for, I think, having a little bit better weight. Yeah, I'm not sure. That would be my pick.
Cool, cool. I just wanted to set that up so I could have a runner up, you know. So
Go for it. What's your runner-up, Danny?
my runner up would probably be the Air Travel Pack 3 Small,
Oh,
the 28-liter
interesting.
size,
Okay.
um, which does a lot of the same things as my end game bag well. And it just, you know, got a different sort of vibe. If you want the techie look, the modern look, it's, you know, even got some extra bells and whistles like the compression straps, which aren't on the city pack, but it's, you know, can be nice to have those.
Yeah, just on a side note with that too, our media manager Margaret, she has obviously her choice of backpack. You know, we have 400 bags in our office probably, and she chose the Air Travel Pack 3 Small for her EDC for like a year. It's a great EDC. She carries a ton of stuff on a daily basis, and then that was her travel bag as well. So it's a great end bag.
It works as a personal item too. I've used it a lot on like Spirit Airlines. So
Awesome.
but yeah, my end game bag. I think you saw it coming. Aaron is the Evergoods CTB 26. You know,
I didn't know. I never would have guessed that. It's crazy.
I if ever poor Evergoods, because they made the CTB 26 and then they made the CTB 20, and I'm sure many like me were like, what about that CTB 24? Because, you know, that would just be like, that would be the end game bag. But in the absence of that, although I love the CPL, the water bottle pockets, the luggage pass through, and the additional quick access pocket are just like, they're all such great additions to what is already, you know, an incredible form factor. And I think you nailed it with the aesthetic, right? It's just a really cool look that seems to blend in everywhere. And so I like that
100%.
dude than the airbag. Actually, I like that. That's kind of a little bit more my style. It's just, you know, take it anywhere. I travel with it. That's been my personal item for many flights, and so continues to be sort of the Mount Rushmore bag.
Good note on the size because yeah, if it was 26, just feels so big for me for like EDC. So if they did like a 23 or a 22, something like in that range, like that'd be really cool because then it packs out like a 24 anyways, right? So we just reviewed the CDB 20. It's in line to be edited. It should be released in a couple weeks. God, that was a good bag. I was so impressed with that. Like they knocked it out of the park, obviously, you know. So interesting. Both of us picking Evergoods for the end game bag, and I feel very okay with that selection.
Me as well. Me as well. I've been a big fan from the beginning. You know, I guess I'm a fanboy, but, you know, you become a fanboy of these companies for a good reason, right? Air, GoRuck, Evergoods, Able Carry, like, they're just all fantastic, Bellroy. But yeah, it's been great to see. And I love because you have the CTB 26, and then there's the whole range of other bags that are going to come out trying to compete with that one, right? And so we get to benefit from, like, amazing new innovation in the bag space, so...
I always say there's never been a better time to be a consumer. We have so many options by so many great companies, and these companies, you know, they're not going out of business. You know, they're all sticking around. So it's just never been a better time to be a carry enthusiast right now, and I'm really excited to see what happens this year as well. So, Dan, I know you got to run soon. Any ending notes? Anything you want to plug before you go?
No, I mean, just listen to the podcast, everybody. I love listening to the episodes that you're doing with everybody else. So I'm super excited to have a chance to come on. Thanks for having me. Anytime, I'm happy to come in and nerd out about this stuff with you. And, you know, the other episodes have been great. So for anybody who's not listening yet, check out the Nomad Nations podcast.
I love that. Danny, thank you so much for joining, dude. It was a blast going through our favorite bags. We will be in touch. And if you're still listening, thank you guys so much for watching, supporting the channel. I'm Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.